This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the conference call for this week. And I want to, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Wayne Mitchell. I'm the President and CEO of the Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce. And I want to remind you that this call is being recorded, as you've just heard, and will be posted later today on the Chamber's website, as are all of our stakeholder conference calls. I also want to respectfully ask everyone to put their phones on mute until we get to questions and answers time. And want to also let you know that the media has been invited to this call as well. And we welcome our friends from the print and broadcast media for their participation and appreciate their coverage of these events. Like many of the programs we have, I want to let everybody know that our presentation today shouldn't be construed as an endorsement of the project. It's purely for informational purposes. And if you have any questions, I will post Michael's email for you folks to direct them if you choose not to ask the questions once we get to that period of our discussion. It's my pleasure to introduce a young fellow I met a few weeks ago. He was kind enough to come into the chamber to give us a kind of a sense of the scope and the proposal of his affordable housing project that's being contemplated here in Nacogdoches. His name is Michael Baird. He's a CPA and a consultant with the Housing Lab of BETCO. I had the pleasure of hearing his presentation a few weeks ago at the Rec Center, and Mike did a great job in articulating what their plans are if approved here in Nacogdoches. So with that, would you please welcome with me Michael Baird, CPA. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Wayne, and thank you for that introduction. And yeah, for those of y'all that were at that meeting a couple of weeks ago, you definitely got your earful on what tax credits are and generally what the fuss has been about with all the buzz in Nacogdoches. But the long and the short of it is, this year Nacogdoches is poised to, if they want it, they're going to get a brand new, high quality, 55 plus affordable housing development located in approximately University Drive and Moroni. There are two applicants that are currently coming to tonight's agenda, and I welcome anyone on the call to definitely come and participate. We need community input. We need feedback. We want to make sure that any and all concerns and questions are dealt with. I very much enjoy talking to people about this. You know, Wayne mentioned I was a CPA, and that's how I got into this program. This whole thing is actually Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code, and it's a wonderful section that kind of bridges the gap and allots for those that have income, but maybe not enough to fall within the 40% or less of your total annual income to cover your rent category. That's really what this program is for. And I think y'all might be on the first slide of the PowerPoint presentation, but I'd like to ask y'all to just kind of move over to the third slide really quick. And as you can see right off the bat, we represent a developer that has a heavy footprint in the immediate area of Nacogdoches. We've got two developments on the ground right now in Lufkin, and a third one that's actually expected to break ground sometime later this year. So we very much enjoy that region of Texas. Aside from the three developments we're going to have in Lufkin, we also have one that's in Dibble. That's a family one that was just finished completion in 2020. So we're in the area. We highly encourage anyone to go look at our products that are listed on there that are within a stone's throw of Nacogdoches. I always think that the product speaks volumes to what this program can actually deliver. And then if you go to, I guess it's, I don't know, slide 5, where it's got the location, that's our rough footprint footprint of the site we have under contract. The development that we're proposing, it is going to be a 55 plus community development, 8 plexes, single story. So we're looking at effectively 10 buildings and a clubhouse. You got that flagpole access off of Moroni there. And if possible, should we be lucky enough to get an award, we're going to talk to the seller to see if we can get another access off the university. But that's going to really depend on how the next couple of weeks go, really. As I mentioned, it's going to be single story, walk-up parking. Our amenities that we're kind of expecting to have are going to range from a community garden, a gate, dog park, probably going to look at providing a food warmer kitchen in the community room, a big screen TV, fireplace, actual area for usage by people that aren't actually residents, if they can coordinate with the property management company, because usually our clubhouses have a very large meeting room. So that's something we're excited about, maybe partnering with some of the local businesses to help arrange some of these activities. It's not uncommon that we would have maybe food pantries there or boys and girls club meetings, you name it. Whatever business needs a meeting place, that's an option. If you go to the slide that says the target rent and income levels, and I should mention, every picture on this slide is one of our developments. These are not stock images. These are actual tax credit developments that we have in our portfolio. If you see the target rents and target income bands, we're going to be 50% one bedrooms, 50% 2 bedrooms. So that's going to be 41s and 42s. And we're expecting to have 15% of the units at market rate. And that's exactly what it sounds like. They're not going to have any income or rent restrictions on them. They'll be whatever the market bears. And then we're going to have 7.5% at those 30% income bands, and then another 20% at the 50, and then the balance at 60 at market rate. So you could see a single person making $27,900 would qualify for one of those 60% developments. And this is taxable income, I mind you. If you're thinking about someone 55 plus that's starting to draw Social Security, this is really going to pick up most people that are in that age bracket once they've retired. And so this idea that affordable housing is project, that's not the case. This is really for those that just have a fixed income, that are very subject to price fluctuations. And in today's inflationary environment, this is absolutely needed for those that are in this age bracket. As you can see, some of the amenities on the next slide, as taken from our development in Henrietta, which is, I think, one of the best senior products that we built. This was completed in 2019, if I remember. I mean, you could see, does that look like affordable housing that you had in your mind? To me, that's as nice as any market rate development I've walked. The beauty of this program, I should add, is that it's a federal program that's administered at the state level, and that agency is TDHCA. And given the fact that they are providing tax credits, these developments have to be maintained and in strict compliance. So every other year there's a property inspection. They come and review the tenant files to make sure that qualified residents are actually living at these places. So you rarely ever see these diminish in quality. And again, I recommend you go look at the Lufkin developments. They're approaching 10 years old right now. We're gonna have a fitness area. We're gonna have, like I said, the food warming station and a tenant lounge clubhouse option. Actually, I think we're also going to do Amazon lockers, because now in today's world, everyone's getting deliveries. So it's really a good amenity to have for people to get those deliveries. And I think we're going to also have bike locks. You can see on the interiors, shaker cabinets, granite countertops, you know, hardwood resilient scraper flooring. It just looks like a market rate development in my opinion. We like doing the gazebos. We're definitely going to do the gazebos as well with the barbecue pit. And I think we're planning on having a computer lab available and a library so that the residents can use them as needed. But really the pictures kind of speak for themselves. Walk-in closets, 9-foot ceilings. And the last couple of pictures are related to our recent build in San Marcos that is placing in service right now. So that's one of our most recent products, if you want an idea of what tax credit developments look like. But from an economic standpoint, we're expected this development to range somewhere between $13 and $14 million. And we are not going to be asking for a property tax abatement. So you're going to have job creation opportunities. We're definitely going to bid out to local subs and allow them a chance to compete on this. There's going to be 2 on-site permanent positions from this, as well as, you know, the property tax revenue that's going to be generated from this. It typically takes about 150 to 200 specialty contract subs to build these things. So those are jobs that are going to be immediately and directly brought to the city of Nacogdoches. You know, it's never a bad thing to encourage and promote investment in the community. And that's really what this is all about. So I'm excited to meet any of y'all that are on this call. I really hope that y'all come to tonight's meeting. And I really just, you know, if you have any questions, I'm gonna open up the floor to anyone.
Any questions for Michael about this project? Michael, my sense is that a lot of retirees would be great candidates for residents. Is that a fair assumption?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, those income bands are taxable income. So that has nothing to do with your net assets. So say you own a house and your children are living in it, or say you have a healthy retirement fund. That does not disqualify from living in these developments. If your taxable income is at or below those limits that are shown there, and you know, since we're only going to have 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom units, your household can't comprise more than 3 persons. So that's kind of the target of what we're looking for, 55 plus in those bands. And when you start to draw down what Social Security and remaining taxable income comes to, it captures a whole lot of qualified residents.
And Michael, assuming you're successful, what type of timetable on construction would you be on?
So applications are due March 1st. We're coming to tonight's meeting because a critical point category is getting city support. And let's assume one or both developers at tonight's meeting get city support, then I imagine both are going to move forward with submitting an application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs on March 1st. Those applications go through a review process until June, where they're scrubbed to make sure that they're meeting all the program requirements and financial feasibility and points and all that. And then the winning application is then selected for an award at the end of June. And effectively you secure that award between July and August, and then you hit the ground running trying to secure and finalize all your financing documents and get this thing closed with full plans and specs, which I should add, of the developments, this is the only one that's fully zoned by right. The other one would have to go through the plan development process, which it's not super cumbersome, but it is another risk. And that's one of the reasons we specifically picked this site, was because it already conforms with an intended use, and it actually is going to abut existing apartments already. We're going to be offset from the main road, kind of up on that hill in the plateau area. So it's going to be recessed. It's going to be quiet. We're going to plan on doing the wood picket fences to help, make this a quiet. I'm not going to say secluded because it's actually super close to all the amenities that are available in Nacogdoches. But seniors want a quiet community, and that's what we're going to be providing. And so you get the award. You basically have to get it built by the end of 2024. That's the ultimate timeline. Close sometime first quarter next year, and about a 12 to 18 month build out. And then, you start putting the units online sometime in 2024.
I have one last question, Michael, and I'm not asking you to speak for your competitors, but why is there all of a sudden the interest from so many developers for affordable housing projects like this?
Sure. So this is all in state statute. It's under 2306 of the Texas Government Code that dictates how this tax credit program is going to be administered. And part of that is through a competitive process called the Qualified Allocation Plan. We shorten it to QAP. And that plan basically lists a bunch of point categories that you get attached to the dirt to be able to differentiate certain developments from other developments. And this year is the year where the stars have aligned for Nacogdoches, and specifically that one census tract that everyone targeted. It ticked all of the points to a perfect degree, where effectively that's why all the developers came in and bum rushed the city, for lack of a better term. And there's no guarantee that next year or the year after that, or even 10 years after that, the stars are going to align again for Nacogdoches. I could say this: there's another development in Lufkin outside of Nacogdoches. If the city does not support one or either of the developments at tonight's meeting, chances are that Lufkin's going to get that award. And then I can't speak as to when Nacogdoches is going to have another shot at this. It's and if you look, historically, Nacogdoches has had tax credit bliss, for lack of a better term, about every 7 to 10 years. And I don't have the crystal ball. It could happen again, where if the city wants it or wants to wrap their head around it, you might have developers come back. But right now, the short of it is Nacogdoches was the highest scoring city this year.
Great, thank you, Michael. Other questions for Michael?
Hi, I'm Erin Windham with Nacogdoches Independent School District. I'm sort of late to the party on this issue, I guess, in getting the details, so forgive me if this is something that's already out there. But my question is, when you say 55 and you're saying no one under 55 is allowed to live in the property, correct?
No, that's actually not correct. It's the household has to have at least one person 55 and up. Technically, you could have someone under 55 as long as one person is above 55. There are household size limitations. You can only have 1.5 persons per bedroom. So that's where effectively I said, since we're only going to have 1 and 2 bedrooms, the most residents you could, or the most tenants you could have in any one unit would be 3. And in that instance, at least one would have to be 55.
So a grandmother, let's say, that's raising her 2 grandchildren could live there.
In that instance, it would qualify. That's not very common. The typical makeup that we see in our properties is it's heavily skewed female to male. It's usually about a 3 or 4 to 1 ratio. I'm not even kidding. It's just we don't live as long, unfortunately. And it's heavily skewed towards female and heavily skewed towards one resident. And there's no rule that says one person can't live in a 2-bedroom unit. My mom actually lives in a tax credit property, and she lives in a 2-bedroom unit to accommodate her stuff from downsizing over the years.
And is there some type of like, what happens if somebody moves in and then they take take in their grandkids and then there's,
So
5 people.
yeah, so there's I mentioned that the state has to monitor these properties, and every 6 months, the household has to fill out a thing called a tenant income certification, shortened for TIC. And it basically has to list all members in the household and any income sources. That is a requirement programmatically to ensure that you're not going over income and that you're not overpopulating these units. And those get audited by the state agency at least every other year.
So it's up to the tenant to self-report that they now have 5 kids with them.
They would have to self-report and basically purge themselves if they lied otherwise. But go ahead.
Hey, good morning. This is Larissa from NEDCO. Aaron, I did also want to clarify for everybody that there are 2 developments under consideration, and this one is the 55 and older. The other development has moved to 62 and older, which is restricted to anybody over the age of 62.
Thank you.
So should the other development get the resolution and get the funding from the state instead of this one, then the other development would not have anybody under the age of 62 living in it. Just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
Also, this is Anita. I need a clarification on the comment on the bedroom, the way they break that down. So if I understood correctly, a 1-bedroom apartment actually could not house a couple with the 1.5 mix. Is that correct? Or is that actually correct? Or was that just the way you do your math?
I think that is correct. I know clearly the 2-bedroom could have 3 max. As far as the half goes, I mean, it would be pretty cramped to have a couple in the 1-bedrooms. So
a retired couple would have to do the 2-bedroom unit in order to live in that facility.
Yes, I think so. I would need to check with compliance at TDHCA to confirm that. But based off of that 1.5 per bedroom, I would tend to agree you can't go over that.
And Michael, are there any 1-bedroom units or?
Yeah, so we're doing a 50-50 split. We'll do 40 1-bedrooms and 42 bedrooms.
Any other questions of Michael? Well, Michael, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time. You're certainly welcome to stay on the call if you'd like, hear the other reports. Excuse me, hear the other reports. And again, without endorsing anything, if anybody has an interest, I believe the city council meeting is tonight, and we're probably a person much better equipped to talk about that is our city manager, who's on this call, Mario Canizares. Good morning, Mario.
Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, everyone. Yes, you're correct, Wayne. Tonight, City Council meets at 5:30 for their regular meeting. One of the items for the discussion tonight is what Mr. Baird just covered. There's 2 items to be considered by council. And so they will be deliberating that tonight. I would suspect we'll probably have a good showing of folks to come to the meeting tonight. So if you are interested in coming, please come and take your seat because it may be limited seating. So that will be happening tonight. There are a number of other things on the agenda for this evening besides those 2 items. We do have a couple of public hearings for some properties around the loop. So those should be going on tonight, going forward. And the rest of it is pretty routine type procurement items that we need to make for operations of the city. Otherwise, things are going fairly well. We had and again, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but we had a really good visit last week in Austin, and appreciate Kelly and certainly you, Wayne, and the folks at the chamber. And your level of coordination with the Angelina Chamber of Commerce. Really good opportunities to visit with our friends in Lufkin and get to know them better and hopefully work towards better collaboration between the 2 communities. While we were there, we were able to also visit with Governor's Office, with Adriana Cruz, the Executive Director of the Economic Development Arm for the Governor, along with the Texas Municipal League. We also visited with and again, Larissa may cover that in some of her comments, but we visited with the new broadband office that was created in this last legislative session to better understand how they're going to be deploying or working to deploy broadband along rural Texas. So lots of monies to be spent around the state where there's underserved areas, and so we were happy to hear that they are working towards getting those plans in order. So really very productive visit. Good opportunity to visit with, to meet a number of folks that we had not met before and continue working towards that collaborative effort with our folks and our friends in Lufkin. That's all I have, Wayne, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for City Manager Canizares? Well, again, we're delighted that you joined the entourage last week. I wish I could have been with you folks. I was roughing it somewhere in the Caribbean last week, so but we'll talk about that another time. Thank you, Mario. Appreciate that. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you the President and CEO of the Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation, NEDCO, Larissa Philpot. Good morning, Larissa.
Good morning. Just again, to second what Mario said, I was so excited to participate with our friends in Lufkin in Austin. I will say that we had several meetings with agency heads as well as legislators and their staff, and everyone mentioned how appreciative they were of us working together as a region. We know Nacogdoches and Lufkin are both economic powerhouses for East Texas, but when we're working on a state level, we really need to work together so that we represent a larger group of people. That's just, it is what it is. If we want to compete with the big mega regions, we've got to work as a region. We can't fight amongst ourselves. And so I'm excited to see that and to see the state recognize that. I think they appreciate it. I'm not going to go over anything else we did in Austin, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any for me later. I do want to let you all know that we do have, you may have heard information about Vexus Fiber coming into the community. There's been some press releases about that. They are starting their surveying of Nacogdoches. This will be a new internet service provider, just like Suddenlink or AT&T. So they're going to be doing construction over the next year. They should have their first customers online in July of this year, which is exciting for us. This is fiber, so it's high speed uploads, high speed downloads. They will be putting signage out where they are working. So if you see trucks digging trenches or installing lines in your neighborhood, they should have signage telling you who they are. But we're excited to have them. They are a Texas-based company. Their customer support is located in Lubbock. They're going to have a local retail office here, so we're excited to have them here. And excited. They seem very interested in becoming a part of the community too. So we're thankful for that. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but that's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Larissa. And again, thank you for accompanying the group last week and helping to make that session so productive. Questions for Larissa?
Hey, Larissa, this is Gary Lee. Did you make any headway or talk to anyone about the issue we talked about at your last meeting, and that is the 69 annexation kind of thing, where we could gather up some property around there and make sure its use is done properly?
So we have had just some internal conversations about that, and I'd be happy to fill you in later. There's not anything formal to report right now.
That's fine. Any
other questions to Larissa? Larissa, thanks again. I appreciate that so much. It's my pleasure.
I'm sorry, Larissa. I do have one question. This is Michael with BETCO.
Hey, Michael.
I just got confirmation from our client that if the general consensus is that the concern is that non-elderly residents are going to occupy the development, we are willing to do the 62 and up election as well. We were not aware that the other developer made that election.
Okay.
And we want to stay on equal terms.
Sure.
So that the city can make the best decision.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Well, thank you again, Larissa. I appreciate that, and Michael for your contribution. I want to introduce now the Executive Director of Visit Nacogdoches, my esteemed colleague, Sherry Cheney Morgan. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, Wayne. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay. So I just received yesterday our Smith Travel Research Report for the month of January, which tells us what our hotel occupancy was. And we were down actually 2.5% from January of last year. Nothing really to worry about. I think our recovery has been so robust. I think this is just an example of everything seeking its own level. So nothing to panic about. We certainly have a lot of great things on the horizon that will fill our hotels up. But for the month of January, we were down just a skosh. Our website bids continue to, that whole process continues. We did have one provider drop out because they weren't able to accommodate our need for a ticketing functionality in a manner that they felt best represented their company. So they bowed out. So we're down to a company named Sapphire out of Austin and Simpleview, which is our current provider. So it's an exciting process. What else? This Friday, Joanna Temple has been working her little bunny tail off. It is the kickoff for Knack Snack Friday, which is where we position food trucks around the square. And it will be a chili Friday this coming Friday for this kickoff. It starts at 11. We'll have classic cars lined up as well in between, in some marked off parking as well, so you can look at some classic automobiles while you wait for your lunch order to be made, or afterwards when you're just kind of taking a walk. And then at 5:30, live music starts. And I will say that thanks entirely to the hard work of Joanna and Ashley, as well as Jessica Sowell and Bethany Griffin in the Main Street area, because we had such a success with Knack Snack Fridays last year, and with our concerts. We have so many generous sponsors for music this year, and we also, for the first time, have had a lot of musicians and bands come to us seeking a presence on our stage. And so we've got some momentum here, and that's really exciting, because I think with that momentum, this is going to grow to be something really, really even more special than it is for us today. So mark your calendars for this Friday for the kickoff of Knack Snack Friday. And it's a short report today, so that's all you get from me.
Thank you, Sherry. We're looking forward to your events coming up. They're always so much fun and attract so many folks to Nacogdoches. We're really blessed to have you doing those things. Any questions of Sherry? If not, we'll move on. I don't think Nancy Windham is on the call right now. Is that correct? But the good news is, I believe Aaron Windham is on the call this morning, reporting for the Nacogdoches Independent School District. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. Not a whole lot to report over here our way, except to say that our construction projects are trucking along quite nicely. I've gotten to recently tour Carpenter Elementary and cannot wait for the public to see that building facility, and more importantly for those children and teachers to get in there. It's just, I can't even describe it. I hope you'll go on our website and look at the pictures. Also, the CTE will have a grand opening coming soon. That's our Career and Technical Education building that is new there on the high school campus. So projects are looking good. The other big news, which we announced several times, but I like to mention again, our Education Foundation is getting off the ground with its very first board meeting March 31st to get our board together and get moving on creating grants for teachers to create innovation for their students in their classrooms, and scholarships for employees who would like to go on to be teachers. Those will be our two main initiatives, and just want people to keep that in the forefront of your mind, because we are the oldest town in Texas and have the newest education foundation in Texas. So I don't know how we've lived so many years without one, but I'm really excited to get that going, and have enjoyed working with Mindy Winslow, Dr. Trujillo, and Mayor Mize as our steering committee to get that rolling. So that's all I have to report. I can answer any questions you might have.
That's great, Aaron, and congratulations on initiating the Education Foundation. It's going to be a great tool for you folks to use here in Nacogdoches. Any questions of Aaron?
Yeah, I've had a lot of coffee today, so I'm piping up. Aaron, do you know anything about what will happen to the old Carpenter facility? I missed the tour the other day.
I do not know anything about what will happen to the old Carpenter facility.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions of Aaron? Great. Thank you, Aaron, for that report. We appreciate it. And it's so nice to hear these reports, and I'm not hearing any real COVID numbers, which is, I think, a really good indicator for us here on the call here, that things are moving in a positive direction in that area. I don't think, is Anita Scott on the line? Let's see here. But I do know the next person is on the line, and that's my friend and colleague, Gary Lee Ashcraft, the President and CEO of Nacogdoches Area United Way. Good morning, Gary Lee.
Good morning. This will be about an hour report because I've had a lot of coffee. I'm just kidding. Right this moment today, we are doing a lot of with our new 365 Circle program, which has two levels. It's for small business. The concept is it's only $1 a day, 365. I figured that out. We have another level that's the $600 leadership level, and that for partners includes things like Facebook Live streaming and things like that. We're really successful with that. It's given small business that we've never talked to and wanted to talk to us opportunities to partner with the United Way. That's a brainchild of Kenny Arena. Very, very happy about that program. So that's what we're doing, is selling. Events that are coming up, we've got two that we're wanting to announce, and this will conclude it. One is the Day of Caring will be held. I'm looking at the wrong report. No wonder I can't do this. Day of Caring will be held Friday, June 17th. Day of Caring, if you don't remember, is putting together teams, small and large, and that's our time that we give back. We send out teams to help our agencies and other folks do things like rake a yard or garden or paint or things like that. I think last year we painted a little bit of the Boys and Girls Club with one of our teams. The Do Dat Barbecue, which I think will be a blowout, is before Day of Caring. It's on Friday, April the 29th. But really the big event is on Saturday, April the 30th. Gates open in the morning about 10 o'clock. We're getting real good response from the grillers, the people who will be providing the wonderful barbecue, and of course R&K. I think Jimmy Day might be on this call. Is kind enough to provide beer for us. You get a couple of them free, and then you pay for the rest, but it's all good. And there you go. That's pretty much what we're into right now. More to come as we proceed through this year of 2022. That's it, Wayne.
I'm still learning this technology stuff. Thank you, Gary Lee. Any questions of Gary Lee? For those of you who haven't been to the Do Dat Barbecue, I'd strongly recommend it. I had the privilege of judging the last time, and it was a wonderful event. And if you want to have an awful lot of fun and contribute to a good cause, that's a great event to put on your schedule. We're looking forward to it. Any other announcements from anybody else on the call this morning? Well, if not, let me just cover a few things. First of all, we do have a live after 5 coming up with R&K Distributors, and you'll have more information on that in the next newsletter from the chamber. But we respectfully, if you haven't been to one lately, that's a fun one to go to. We had a great live after 5 last week, and we anticipate that the R&K Alive After 5 out at the Expo is going to be equally or even better attended. So that's going to be fun. On Friday of this week, there's going to be an event to recognize Senator Robert Nichols for his contribution to East Texas. It's going to be hosted by the Texas Association of Business at the Crown Colony at 12 noon. If you're interested, go to the Chamber's website and you can see how you can register there. There's going to be a luncheon provided by our friends from Verizon. And this will be another joint project involving the Lufkin and Nacogdoches chambers, along with our friends from the Texas Forest Country Partnerships as well. And it's a great opportunity to thank Senator Nichols for all the great work he does on behalf of East Texas. Also want to let you know, and this is kind of a special event, and it's a come and go, from 3 to 5 o'clock on Friday, our friends from KTRE are going to have a come and go recognition for one of the young ladies that I've had the privilege of working with in my 6 years here, Donna McCullum, who is going to retire, it's my understanding, from KTRE. It's going to begin at 3 o'clock at the Chamber Boardroom and conclude at 5, and it'll be a come and go event. If you want to drop by to say thank you for the unbelievable service that she's provided Nacogdoches County, feel free. There's no registration involved. Feel free just to drop by the chamber during that time period. Donna McCullum has done a tremendous job covering issues here for the chamber, as have other media members on this call. But she's been a joy to work with. For a period of time, she was a tenant here at the chamber, and just a wonderful person to have around. So if you can join us, I respectfully suggest you do that. And with that, I believe we can conclude this call about 15 minutes early, unless anybody else has any other comments. If not, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. Thanks again, Michael Baird, for your report today. It's been a pleasure to hear it. Good luck tonight, and don't forget to vote. Early voting is still open, and March 1st is your last day to vote. So vote and let your preferences be known. Thank you, folks, very much.
Thank you.